So yesterday we put forth a really great video about separating the pelvis from the chest in transition so we can move towards right bend and then motor the chest down at the bottom. But let's talk about what the spine actually does. I really need you to understand this fact, all right? Our spine can bend to the left, it can bend to the right, it can flex, it can extend, right? And it can rotate, okay? So when I set up, I'm in forward bend. So I've got flexion in my hips, I've got flexion in my spine, I've got flexion in my knees. Okay, that's what gets me down to the ground. So from this point, if I were just to turn my pelvis and turn my chest and stay in a flexed position in my spine, where do you think my head would go? Way off of it over here, right? So how do I turn but not have my head go over here? I need to go into left bend, right? As I turn gradually. So as my right hip turns the corner, I need to be going into left bend. So if I sit here and I preset my left bend and then I turn, you can see that I'm pretty centered, right? Well, what do you think has to happen in the downswing? The opposite, right? So if my left hip is going to open up, well, I can't stay in left bend, so I'm going to go over here. So as that left hip moves away from my left shoulder, I start to be pulled towards right bend, especially as my pelvis starts to sway forward more than my chest. Okay, those two elements really start to give us some nice right bend. Now, if I add more right bend, then I have pelvic rotation and chest rotation. Where do you think my head would be? Back, right? And that's what you see a lot with people who don't rotate and they just slide. They get up to the top, maybe they slide their pelvis this way, then they definitely don't want to rotate from here because what would happen? I'd stay in left bend, right? So they're going to slide their pelvis back the other direction, start to get into too much right bend versus how much they rotate. Does that make sense? Okay.